Hello and welcome to part 3. Decided that I would do 3 parts to this, so we'll go straight on in there and talk about troops. Carry on talking about troops. So we talked about the Scout Squad. Here's another one for you. You've got Crusader Squad. It's 70 points, so it's the same cost as the normal tactical squad, but it's got Chapter Tactics, Black Templars. You can have a Neophyte in with them as well, and they've got Initiates, but the Neophytes got save of 4+. But then you've got Sword Brothers, which have 1 extra attack and a slightly better leadership. So there's a bit of a mixture of Scouts, Space Marines, and a bit of a assault squad thing going on there. Command Squad, 90 points, and you have 5 veterans in there. They've all got 2 attacks each. The champion's got a better weapon skill. Before, the Command Squad, you could take a Command Squad for a captain or something like that. Now they count as a separate elite choice, which is a bit poor. In my opinion, I would have thought that you could have them with a captain or something, but I guess not. It's completely separate now. The same thing happened there. The company captain had the same increase in weapon skill, so nothing's really changed there. They have dropped in price though. They're now not 90 points, and before they were 100. I will say that. And they have this honour or death special rule. Then you've got the Honour Guard, which before were in the HQ section. They're now in Elites. They don't have Chapter Tactics, Ultramarines anymore, even though they're all decked out in Ultramarines. So you could have just a normal Honour Guard, which are actually less points than the Command Squad. You have a Chapter Champion instead of, you know, your company champion. They all have Artificer armour, even though it doesn't say that there in the war gear, but it doesn't say that in the war gear in there either. But either way, they've got 2+, which I'm thinking is Artificer armour. The only difference really is their leadership of 10 and their save, but they are cheaper. And they've all got power weapons. It might be worth now just taking an Honour Guard, all kitted out with power weapons. But the Honour Guard only consists of 3 models, but then you can have a Relic Blade, you can take something from the Space Marine Standards list, you can take a Land Raider as a dedicated transport, which is a big thing. So that's quite well hidden, really. For the Honour Guard were the same points, same save and everything, but you couldn't take a Land Raider as a dedicated transport. So if you're short on spaces to use them, then that is a sneaky little way of getting one in. Have an Honour Guard of three Space Marines, and having a Land Raider as dedicated. So there you go. You didn't hear that from me though. So then straight after the Honour Guard, you have the Centurion Assault Squad. The box set, I was very disappointed that the box set, you can either make the Centurion Assault Squad or the Centurion Devastator Squad. I would have preferred it if you could mix and match, swap the weapons around, do something at least. This is why I've said it, and I said it before, they should have had a separate box set for the Assault Squad and a separate for the Devastator, just like they have with the Terminators, with your standard and then your Assault Terminators, because the box set for 3 is almost £50. Extremely high amount of money just for 3 plastic, kind of posable miniatures. The legs are the same, the arms are almost the same. You don't get many head varieties. They should have done it as 2 boxes, probably £25 each. A little bit like what they did with the Orc Mega Knobs. You've got the Assault and the kind of shooty Mega Armoured Knobs for about £25–30, something like that. But you can also have a big mech in that box set. So a bit disappointed. Also, these are Assault Squads, and they've only got 1 attack. It's pretty poor actually. The siege drills are quite powerful, but when you've only got 1 attack, yeah, and you haven't got an invulnerable save, you're going to be taking Thunderhammer Terminators all day, every day really. Yes, they've got the 2+ armor save and they've got a high toughness, but they just really don't do the job compared to the Terminators. But the Terminators are a bit more expensive than these. You can put them in a Land Raider. You can have them in any kind of Land Raider as a dedicated transport, so that's another kind of sneaky way you can get your extra Land Raider in. But I'm not really a big fan of them. I'm sure they've got their purpose, but whether they'll, with only 2 wounds, yes, they're toughness 5, but with only 2 wounds and no invulnerable save, will they actually get to their destination in time? I can see you pulling up with a Land Raider Redeemer with 3 of them in, and then them assaulting a vehicle or a fortification, doing some hefty damage. Apart from that, they're very, very specific. The chances are with those melter guns, twin link melter guns, they're probably going to melt or kill the target before they even get into close combat. And I don't know why, but they've got a big picture here, probably to try and promote them or sell them more. It really is pointless. I don't like it when they break the pages with a picture. I mean, there's a whole section in here that has kind of pictures dedicated to it. I think it's unnecessary. Then you've got Vanguard Veteran Squad, very nice little squad here. They've each got 2 attacks. They're 95 points. They've got this heroic intervention. They can re-roll 1 or both dice when determining their charge range, which is pretty cool. And they also ignore the penalty for disordered charges. So that's their kind of heroic intervention. They can just re-roll kind of charge ranges, which isn't too bad. Then they can have the grav pistols, power swords, things like that. If they don't have jump packs, you can actually put them in a dedicated transport. Then you have the Stone Guard Veteran Squad, which are just a must, really, in a Space Marine army. You have these guys in a drop pod, touching down near a high value target. You give them the right weapons because they all come with special ammunition, and the special ammunition, you've got Dragonfire, Hellfire, Kraken and Vengeance. You've got 4 different types of rounds here. Essentially you've got some that ignore cover, some that wound on a 2+, some that are a little bit extra range, range 30, and Vengeance rounds are the ones that if you were going up against fellow Space Marines you want to be taking, because rapid fire 18 inches but it's AP 3 and they get hot, so they've basically got plasma kind of rules. But it depends on the job at hand. People do like to run them with combi weapons, because any model can replace their bolt gun with a combi flamer, combi melter, grav or plasma. So if you have them with the combi weapons, all 5 of them or 10 of them if you really want, then after they've touched down you can fire their combi weapons at said target, and then once you've spent those rounds you've then got the special ammunition to use in the next turn if you wish. They're very kind of versatile in terms of your weapon loadout. Tip of the spear against a thorn in your side or a high value target, use these guys. They can be quite pricey though, because if you've got 5 and you swap in their weapons with combi weapons, that's an extra 50 points. There's 160 points just for 5. Dreadnoughts. Now these guys did get a buff. I was really devastated with some reviewers completely ignoring the fact that Dreadnoughts now get 4 attacks. 4 attacks, I mean seriously. They're still elites, which is great, but Dreadnoughts before had only 2 attacks. They were a bit wet. They weren't very good. But now that they've got the chapter tactics, which they didn't actually have before, well, they kind of sort of did, but you know what I mean. So yeah, the main difference is their 4 attacks. Everything else has remained the same. They're exactly the same points and all the rest of it. However, you can now have like 2 Dreadnoughts within the squad. So you can have 3 Dreadnoughts count as one elite choice. You have missile launcher, twin-linked autocannons. You can take a drop pod as a dedicated transport. But that's the main difference, these 4 attacks. And then your Venerable Dreadnought, which is again has got exactly the same stats as before, but it's now got 4 attacks. Would have been pretty ballsy for GW to just give it an extra attack and give it 5, but I think 5 attacks for Dreadnoughts would be a bit overkill. But either way, 125 points, so it's exactly the same points cost as before, and it's got this, if it suffers a penetrating hit, you can make your opponent re-roll the result on the vehicle damage table, which just adds a little bit more survivability to it, and it's got ballistic skill and weapon skill 5. So dropping one of these out of a Dreadnought drop pod, it's going to hurt your opponent even more. Then you've got an Ironclad Dreadnought, same points, same stats, but again it's got these 4 attacks, got the chapter tactics and things like that. Another good choice, really. I like the fact that you can put 2 hunter killer missiles on there as well. Legion of the Damned, 125 points, nothing has changed there. What they've got though is they've got these unyielding spectres, which I think they had before, so you get a 3+ invulnerable save with these guys, but they are quite costly. I don't think they can take grav weapons either. Only one can take a weapon from the specials weapons, and a different legionnaire can take a single weapon from the heavy weapons, and then the sergeant can take item from the range weapons. They're pretty nice. The models are alright too. I would love it if they just brought them out in plastic. I really would. And just brought some new models as well. I'd definitely be interested in getting some for my army. And then we have the legendary Terminators. I love Terminators. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted a squad of Terminators. Back in the day, Terminators with a Storm Bolter and a Power Fist, I thought, nothing's going to take them on. Nothing. And then obviously I found out that there were Carnifexes and Wraith Lords, things like that. But Terminators, they were the elite units. None of this shooting or spamming combi weapons or anything like that. It was Terminators. Although they attacked last, their strength was 8 because of the Power Fists, and they had 2, maybe 3 attacks on the charge, and they just wreck things. And then when they brought them in so that they gave them invulnerable saves, 5+ invulnerable, even better. But I love them. I love the models. They're an old model, believe it or not. These came out in 2004, so they're now 11 years old, and I think the Assault Squad came out very shortly after, actually. But you can have them in Land Raiders as a dedicated transport, 175 points. They're actually cheaper now than they were before, and so are the Assault Squad, 175 points. However, you now have to pay for your Thunder Hammers. In a way, they're kind of more expensive if you take 5 of them. I think the whole point is that you have a mixture of Thunder Hammers and Lightning Claws. I think that's where they're going. Again, you can, for this squad, for every 5 models, one can have either an assault cannon, missile launcher. Can't tell you how useful it is to have a squad of 5 and one guy with a missile launcher, the Cyclone missile launcher in particular, because that has 2 shots, strength 8, I think it's AP3. You've got some long range anti-tank capability there. I love the models, love the units. You've got so many options. You can deliver them by Land Raider, Storm Raven. You can teleport them in, like deep strike them in. Excellent models, excellent units. Then you got the Assault Squad. They have their models redone. They're 70 points, so they've actually been dropped a few points. Obviously now you can have your grav pistols. You could have grav pistols before, but they've got this new weapon. For every 5 models, one can replace this bolt pistol and chainsword with an eviscerator. But again, quite a nice squad, plenty of options. 2 of them can have a flamer or a plasma pistol, so it's similar to last time. Scout Bite Squad, exactly the same points, but increased in weapon skill and ballistic skill. Still the same toughness and all the rest of it. You're getting a much better deal like you were in the normal scouts. A normal Bite Squad, again, nothing's changed, same points, same pretty much everything. They've got this new rule, mounted assault. If you have it with a detachment containing one independent character, the unit's battlefield role changes to troops. I don't know whether they had that before. There you go, so you can have them as troops if your independent character has a bite. Attack Bite Squad, actually a bit cheaper now, but it still costs the same for you to get that multi-melter, but of course you can have 3 in the squad, same as before really. I've only got 1 attack bike. I might look to get another couple just to even the squad out. Then you've got Land Speeder Storm. Now before, the Land Speeder Storm was a dedicated transport for scouts. Now it's in a separate fast attack section. So you're going to have to take it as a fast attack. It can only carry Space Marine Scout Sergeants. It has the Cerberus launcher and it has the heavy bolter, but you can replace the heavy bolter with the assault cannon, give it a bit more punch. The armour, like all land speeders, 10 all around and only 2 hull points, so they're pretty flimsy. You can't have it in a squadron of 3 or anything like that. That'd be pretty cool. Normal land speeder though, still at 45 points. Dropped a little bit in price. Before it was 50 points. Still the same kind of stats and things. Obviously you can change it and have it as a land speeder or land speeder tornado, where you have the assault cannon and the heavy bolter, so that's what that is, a tornado. Or you can have it as a typhoon, which just has the Typhoon missile launchers at either side. They obviously go up and up in points. You got the Rhino. Nothing's changed here with the Rhino. Everything is exactly the same. It's still got the repair special rule. You can have 10 Space Marines in there. Razorback, same points cost. You've got the fire points, access points, things like that. You know, you haven't got any for the Razorback. You've only got 1 access point on each side and 1 at the rear. So we then move on to drop pods. As useful as ever. Believe it or not, their armour is a bit thicker than land speeders. It's 12 all around. They've got this drop pod assault where they're held in reserve. Beginning of your first turn, half your drop pods rounding up automatically arrive. Then once drop pod lands, all passengers disembark. No models can embark for the rest of the game. And then once it's landed, it's immobile, can't be repaired. It doesn't cause it to lose a hull point. It's got 3 hull points. crazy, isn't it? And then it's got the inertial guidance system, so if it scatters on top of impassable terrain or another model, you just reduce the scatter distance by minimum required in order to avoid the obstacle. But if it does go off the board, then it suffers a deep strike mishap. And then you can give it a Deathwind launcher or a locator beacon, something like that. And then you've got a fast attack Storm Talon gunship, or flying potato, as some people call it. I think it's alright. Crazy that it's just got silly tiny little wings there, but it's got VTOL, vectored afterburners. It's only got 2 hull points, its armor's only 11 all round. It's like a land speeder, but it's got a better jinx save, and you can have some better weapons. Sky Hammer is obviously the way to go a lot of the time. Normally it has the heavy bolters at either side. It's annoying that you have to pay for the much better weapons, even just the 5 points. I think, you know, where to place the heavy bolters with the Sky Hammer for free, that would be a better option. I think more people would take it. You can't have them in a squad of 3 or anything like that. It is just one. One is one fast attack choice, which I was a bit annoyed about, because it would have been nice to have them as like a squad of 3 or something like that. They've missed out on this escort craft special rule that they had before, but they do have strafing run,